Hello, everyone. I was having a bit of a free time in this magnificent room in this great hotel in Milan, and I thought, do you know what? I haven't had a coffee with Guillem live for a while, so why don't we do exactly that? And it would be one of them that won't last forever, but there's a bunch of things I want to say. One related to Trent Alexander Arnold and his move away from Liverpool. Two, I'll give you a little bit of a taste of the second leg of the semi-finals here in Milan, into Barcelona, and then we can chat a little bit about Arsenal. And I think I want to lead the chat on the correspondence I've had, on the conversations and the comments I've had, especially on X, regarding the Trent move. And that will give us the opportunity to converse about it. And if you've got any questions, just put them there, and then we deal with it as well. Because I understand, I heard Jamie Carragher saying, nobody's got to tell us how we feel as Liverpool fans. And I get that. But it's football, so we all have an opinion. And my opinion was put very clearly in the video that I did in Bilbao. And I also, he was kind of relevant that he was in Bilbao, because Bilbao is another place like Liverpool where they appreciate, in fact, they need and they use local players to create a competitive team, one that has never been down in the second division, amazingly enough, alongside Barcelona and Real Madrid. But when one of those players that, of course, they've gone through the ranks, through the academy, and they played in the first team, and eventually they leave, for instance, on a free, like Fernando Llorente, you must remember him. He ended up at Spurs and of course, Juventus, etc., Sevilla. Fernando Llorente, who was a World Cup winner with Spain, left on a free, and the Athletic Club fans have never forgiven him for that. Meanwhile, even though he struggles to go to Bilbao now and he cannot go to San Mamés, he's had an extraordinary career, as in one with full of adventures. So it's the feeling of the fans against the personal story of the player. And sometimes, like in the case of Trent, it doesn't seem to go together. So, and that gets reflected in a lot of the questions. I mean, the statement is there. I'm sure you all read it. And I'm going to go through, as I said, some of the questions here. Luke, for instance, Luke 555-7725 says, no problem with him going to Real Madrid or anywhere he likes. But how is he testing himself by going to a club with 20 times the budget of all its rivals, bar one other club? If he wants a new challenge, go to Betis and try them for European spots to challenge. That is a challenge, he says. I'll deal with you, King Leo, in a minute. But on this, first of all, he's going to Real Madrid, isn't he? And it's true that he hasn't signed anything, but it's also true that Real Madrid don't get at this stage of the season without having the player confirmed one way or another. It could be a private contract. For instance, I discovered on the move of Cristiano Ronaldo from Manchester United that it was all done 6 months previously, and he was under contract. So is that illegal? No, because what Real Madrid did was a private contract with his agent, with Jorge Mendes, confirming that if Cristiano Ronaldo was not going to go to Real Madrid after 6 months, Mendes will have to pay, 30 million euros or whatever it was. So it was a way to confirm that things were going to happen. And I know that from March, the agreement is total. So that's why it was in March when first Trent spoke to Slot, to the manager, and then, the whole thing got moving on, and then he got the confirmation with Real Madrid. What Real Madrid want to do now is to get Trent Alexander Arnold for the Club World Cup, which starts, I think, the 14th of June or 13th of June, and of course his contract finishes at 30th of June. So Liverpool may want Trent not to pay the last month of his contract, €1 million. The player will never lose. If that's the case, Real Madrid, that need to talk to Liverpool next to confirm this, will pay whatever there is to pay. As you know, and I told you here, Real Madrid tried to get Trent Alexander Arnold in January. Liverpool didn't contemplate the idea at all, and neither did Trent. He wanted to stay at Liverpool until the end of the season. So, is it not a challenge to try to beat Barcelona in the league, for instance, or in the Cup, or in the Super Cup? Barcelona have beaten Real Madrid 3 times this season. Every single time they destroyed Real Madrid. So the challenge is to actually get to the top. This is like when Liverpool and Manchester City were fighting for the big titles. Luke may say it's not a challenge if only Manchester City is superior than you and the rest are inferior than you. It's not a challenge. This is not a challenge for Liverpool to win the league in the Manchester City era. Of course it is. Of course it is. So what else? We got from Moses Olawoye says, astute perspective, football is a normal job for elite athletes. Just like normal jobs, you get in and out of them with your own justification. It is what it is. In a way, yes. But for Trent, this is Liverpool. It's close to his heart, obviously. And yes, what I would say is that it is a job, and in a way has to be treated as such. Meaning that why does the employee have to be on top of the employer? What I mean is, if the employer finishes its contract, let him go. The employee can put a lot of pressure, but why do fans line up with the employee? I'm not explaining this very well. I got myself confused. What I'm trying to say is that Liverpool wanted Trent to stay, and fans want him to stay. And the accusation is if he doesn't stay or doesn't get a new contract, and then Liverpool can sell him, is actually costing Liverpool money or is taking the mickey. And what I'm saying is, Trent has spent 20 years in Liverpool. 20 years. It's 24, 25, 26. 20 years of his life in a football club. And by being such a good right back, Liverpool didn't need to spend any money on right backs. So Trent has saved money to Liverpool. And now, yes, as Moses says, he's an employee, and now he wants to move on. Let him. There was a contract that was respected by both parts. I understand Liverpool fans are emotional, but what I don't accept is that the emotional ones that dislike Trent doing this without getting a new contract, for instance, are the ones that are identified as Liverpool fans only. Because I'm getting a lot of messages from people saying, we understand it, we get it. You know, if it was our son, yeah, go and conquer the world. It happens. You've given us everything. You won everything with us. Just go. What do we do with those Liverpool fans who are also emotional? When we're hearing that, don't tell us what to feel, or don't laugh at Liverpool fans when they feel real emotional. I get that, but how about the many Liverpool fans that actually accept and understand the situation of Trent? Why don't they count? Why aren't they defended? Why the narrative doesn't say a lot of people understand, and that's it, and good luck. But, it is what it is. Mas Patel says he goes with our gratitude for his dedication to making us successful. He will now be our opponent. Fair enough. Absolutely. Fair enough. Stephen Hasty says he's engineered the move knowing Madrid wasn't willing to pay a fee for him. In doing so, costing the club his estate he loves millions. Madrid fans will be so underwhelmed when he's pulling out of challenges, constantly giving possession away and not tracking back. He will have obligations at Real Madrid, and guess what? He's actually going to do the best he can with those obligations. So I'm not sure he's not going to track back. I'm not sure he's not gonna jump away from challenges. I'm not sure that's going to happen. Actually, I think he's going to embrace the whole experience with both arms. And engineering the move because Madrid did not want to pay, I'm not sure that was the plan either. Quite clearly, this is what Real Madrid have done with Mbappe, with Alaba, with Rudiger, and contact players a couple of years before the end of the contract, and see what happens. Plant the seed. And then quite clearly, Real Madrid offered money to Liverpool for him, £20 million. Even though Liverpool say that there was no offer, no official offer, that's what they were willing to pay. Liverpool said no. Who do we blame? Trent or the club in this case that did not want the money for the player? The player didn't want to go anyway. But it's not as simple as the move was engineered because Real Madrid did not want to pay money for him. Tim Chapman says, as a Liverpool fan and a Liverpoolian by birth, I'm of course sad that Trent is leaving, but I'm proud of what he has achieved for the club and pleased that he's pursuing an exciting new adventure. Liverpool fans should not be small-minded about this, but wish him well. As I'm saying, there is different takes, and I don't accept that Liverpool fans. This is a take also from many commentators in podcasts. They sense that the wind is going towards hate for Trent, and they all going that way as well. And then privately they say a different story. It's much more balanced. What the reaction has been. There is a question on YouTube. Nick says he wouldn't have Trent at Arsenal. He cannot defend. Okay, he cannot defend, just like that. What you have is a player that has got a good ability attacking, a very, very good ability attacking. And you think if he wasn't a good defender, he would be the right back at Liverpool. That, again, is a narrative that has been used a lot. He commits mistakes. Of course he does. If you point out the mistakes of Cubarsí, the Barcelona centre-back that everybody's raving, you'd say he's not a good defender. He cannot defend. You can use his mistakes to say that. You can use the mistakes of Trent to say that he doesn't defend well. But look at his defensive progression and his defensive qualities. And you can also tell a different story. It's just that, again, this narrative has been repeated. He doesn't defend well. And I tell you who doesn't defend well. Some of the right backs that we play against at Biggleswade United in step 5, they don't defend well. To be an elite player, you have to defend well. Question on YouTube: do Real Madrid have a similar agreement with Saliba? No, not that I know of. Are they interested? Yes. Are they the only centre back they're interested in? No. So they obviously, it's not that Real Madrid goes and says, right, don't sign another contract because we're going to get you. In some cases, Mbappé, they said that. In other cases, they want to know what the situation is. And certainly Saliba is a really, really good player. I'm not aware that Real Madrid have got a pre-contract with him or have agreed anything with him. There is interest, absolutely. Another question on YouTube: how Trent can be used at Real Madrid? Rich Martin says, do you think Trent could adapt to play in a midfield with Valverde and one other? I cannot see him replacing Carvajal next season. Carvajal is 33 and recovering from a long-term injury. So I can see how both can play right back. And the thing about them, both of them, is that Carvajal is a better defender. Trent is a better attacker. But they both attack and defend, and they both a very important part of what Real Madrid need to do, which is a fullback coming inside, as Carvajal has been doing, or going outside, depending what the situation is. Let's see if Rodrigo stays or not. Let's see if Arda Güler is going to be the third attacker, or Brahim, if Rodrigo goes. So all that will depend on how Xabi Alonso, who we all think will be the next manager of Real Madrid, puts everybody together. But you can be a right back of Real Madrid 90% of the time, where your main preoccupation is attacking. Lucas Vázquez is not a great defender. He's not a great attacker, but better attacker than defender, and he's been doing his job. So even though, the season hasn't been great for Real Madrid. So I've got no problem in seeing that Trent will adapt. He will not be if Carvajal is fit, he will not be an automatic starter for now. But quite clearly, they sign him because they see the potential of somebody who, in my eyes, is not just a player that will do really well at Real Madrid. He can become an icon in many ways. An icon, a fashion icon, not a political icon. He doesn't get into those things, but certainly somebody that has got social conscience. I think you're going to hear a Trent that he won't just want to talk about football. He wants to be more than that. And I'd be glad that he is, because he's an intelligent person, surrounded by intelligent people as well. So as we have been talking about Athletic Club, and you saw the video, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. It's in my timeline that I did on Trent. It was in front of San Mamés. There's a question about Athletic Club. Michael says, does Athletic Club still have the policy of signing only players that are born in the Basque region? Yes and no. Yes, mostly in a huge percentage, but it used to be more restrictive in the past. Now is a little bit more open. So, for instance, in recent times, in the last decade, they signed people from Navarra, which is not the Basque Country. It's quite similar, quite close, in fact, next to it, but it's not the Basque Country. Or Logroño. Logroño is the Rioja area. That's not the Basque Country, but it's around the Basque Country. What I find fascinating, of course, is that Athletic Club and Bilbao has been an area of rich area. There is work there, there is industry there, there's emigration. There's always been emigration in the 60s from the south of Spain, recently from North Africa, for instance, and now there is a second generation of players born in the Basque Country that are second generation of immigrants, and that they are feeling the pitch with their own experiences. And the experience of an immigrant, I'm an immigrant myself, is one of somebody that wants to conquer the world, wants to impress, wants to go the extra mile. And that's what we're seeing with some of the players that the Athletic Club have got from second generation of immigrants, like the Diallo or Nico Williams, Iñaki Williams, Moain. So there's so many that actually have given the team even a competitive edge. It's wonderful to see. One from from a Liverpool fan. Let's have a look. Paul Higgins says, player is valued at 100 million, who's leaving for free, going to spend peak years of his career away from Liverpool, moving to a Champions League rival. 3 reasons why I'm unhappy about the move. I get it. And I'll give you 3 why you should be happy. Trent Alexander Arnold is a person. It's not a commodity. It's a guy with dreams, with the intention of seeing if what he's got is good enough to actually find a place in the lineup of Real Madrid and then getting titles with Real Madrid, learning another language, another culture, maybe at some point giving his kids the opportunity to do so, and just coming out of his comfort zone. That's definitely one reason. Second reason, if you're a football player, professional football player, and Real Madrid wants you, you've got the opportunity of your life. I'm not saying, don't want to discuss if it's bigger or not than Liverpool. Real Madrid, for football players, professional football players, have got an aura that no other club in the world have. Maybe Barcelona, a touch Bayern Munich, I don't know, Juventus, maybe Inter, AC Milan, but certainly Barcelona and Real Madrid, especially for the Trent generation, the Jude Bellingham generation. When I meet Jude Bellingham, I'm briefly going to make it about myself. He's like a little kid because he grew up seeing me on television, watching Spanish football, Champions League, whatever, and he gets so excited. That kid in him is wonderful to see. Trent went through the same. I met him, and I know that he used to watch Revista de la Liga and fantasized about being a Barcelona Real Madrid player, and now he's going to be one. Second reason. Third reason, as I said, I know the cost of Trent Alexander Arnold in the market. I insist. I think Liverpool have saved money having him all these years winning stuff as a right back. And guess what? You got another right back from the quarry that would have had to go maybe at some point because Trent will block the way. Trent goes, somebody else, another person, another kid with dreams, another Liverpool fan will have the chance to succeed in the team. I would love to hear from Paul and answering if any of this has convinced him. So a question on we are on transfer fees. On transfer stories. So one more about Zubimendi to Real Madrid. Maybe is that the question? Zubimendi going to Real Madrid. Zubimendi has got the chance to go to England as he did last summer. He's definitely determined to leave Real Sociedad at this stage. I think 3 months into the season, he would have done that if he could, realizing that he should have taken the offer from Arsenal. Going to England is very, very attractive. But as you say, Real Madrid would like to have another holding midfielder if they feel that Tchouaméni is not the man, but it's not a priority, which means that they won't invest in Zubimendi, I don't think. As things stand, they want to put the money somewhere else. But Zubimendi will leave Real Sociedad this summer. So that's on Trent, unless if there is any other question on something we haven't spoken about appears. But otherwise, I wanted to tell you as well about Milan. As I said earlier, it's the second leg of the Champions League semi-finals, which the first leg was one of those ties that we'll always remember. And I've been trying to think why we were so affected by it. I went to the Sports Book Awards the day before, basically didn't sleep that night, and traveled to London to be in the award ceremony. And everybody talked about the game, and everybody had something to say about Lamine Yamal. Not usual that this happens. It was a semi-final that caught everybody's imagination. And I was lucky enough to sit on the first row of the Montjuic, literally the first row, in the area where Inter Milan were defending in the first half, which is where Lamine were attacking. So I could see that there was no spaces, that there was a lot of players, the pace in which decisions were made, how Lamine Yamal found solutions constantly. A lot of things that just took us aback. We were looking at each other. Are we looking at this? Is this real? We stood in our seats every time Lamine did something. When Rafinha scored as well, obviously at the beginning with the first two goals of Inter, it was just extraordinary. And there's been other games like this, but I think it's one that many people watched. Number one, Lamine was extraordinary. There is more people watching football, and they don't watch it as in a coaching way. They watch it as a spectacle. That was a spectacle. They focus on the individual. You had an individual that was extraordinary, and 17 as well. So there was all that. But at the same time, both Inter show their strengths. They scored 4 goals, one disallowed, but 4 goals they scored in Montjuic, including, despite the fact that Lautaro Martinez had to be replaced with an injury at the end. I think Lautaro will be fit for tonight, we expect. Barcelona considered 2 goals in set pieces, in corners, when Inter scored 4 out of the last 5 goals in the Champions League in corners. So that's the weakness. Let's see if they play today 4 centre-backs, with Eric Garcia being almost certainly right back. As Koundé and Balde, the 2 full-backs of Barcelona will be missing, and that's a big miss because they add depth and quality, especially up front, but defensively as well. So let's see if Íñigo Martínez goes back as a left back, as he did in the last few minutes against Inter, and also in extra time. And the of the Cup against Real Madrid, or Íñigo Martínez partners Cubarsí, and then Gerard Martin becomes the left back of Barcelona, and there's a weakness there. Dumfries was extraordinary. They know how to attack this Barcelona. They learned about Lamine. Lamine had 2 players on him, ended up having 3 players on him. Lamine may be a bit missing if that happens, but the spaces will be somewhere else for Barcelona to exploit. So there's so many things that could happen. I'm just fascinated about the game. But as I said, another thing that made everybody excited about this game is that we've seen more and more organized attack. One of my latest obsessions, and I've spoken a lot about it and written about it. This is where football is going. And I think people want the games where the unexpected happen, where there is less control. And obviously that was that kind of game. There's a question on YouTube about Leeds, if they get a payout, if Rafinha helps Barcelona win the Champions League. My understanding is that's the case, but having had the question, I'm going to ask around and see if I got some more, and I'll let you know. And then a question on Ancelotti just before we go. Michael is saying, with the situation with Ancelotti, whether he stays or leaves the club, is that affecting Real Madrid transfer policy, or does Ancelotti have a say in Trent transfer to Real Madrid? Ancelotti doesn't have a say on transfers. In fact, he wanted Kyle Walker in January, and Real Madrid went no. He suggested other names. Real Madrid have got their own plans. They've got their own director of football. Florentino has to approve everything. This is a club decision to get Trent. So the move of Ancelotti, who will leave, and I think will become the Brazil national manager, doesn't affect the policy of transfers at Real Madrid. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to tonight. I am going to be putting some videos on my socials. Remember, I'm on Blue Sky, Instagram, X, YouTube. I think that's basically it. That is for the Liverpool fans that are still there and not hating me and still watching. There's a new book out. No, not a new book. The update of A Season on the Brink, my first book, that reminds you all of the Championship final of Istanbul, with a new foreword from Rafa Benitez, who I've been talking to this morning. He's got lots of things going on to commemorate the 20 years of that final. A Season on the Brink is it's out there already, and I know many of you as kids got it. You've been telling me about it. Maybe you should get it for your kids. And then they will know what happened on that final and what happened on that year. There was a season on the brink. There's more books out, but I'll talk to you soon about those. Obviously, Rise of the Villains. It's in the process of being finished. I still got a month and a half to go, but I'm really, really enjoying the process. Captains, the captain book, interviews to captains of Barcelona that I did in Spanish and Catalan, is going to come out in English as well, with interviews with Alexia Putellas, Xavi Hernandez, with Iniesta. Pep Guardiola has talks to me for the book as well. So for those Barcelona fans, there'll be another book to buy soon. Anyway, time to go for a coffee, and it was a pleasure to be with you as always.